Jeremy Weiss. I am here live at RetailX. I am with Franz. He is founder of Sellics. Franz, tell people what Sellics does.
Sure. So Sellics is a software that helps brands to grow their business on Amazon. We do this by providing Amazon SEO services, Amazon advertising services, competitive insights, inventory management, so everything that you need on a day-to-day basis to be successful on Amazon out of one software.
How did you get into this? You hail from Germany.
I am from Germany, indeed. So we started back in 2014 already, so we've been in this business for quite some time. And that was a time when there was really no SEO out there, no Amazon SEO. And so it was a friend of mine who was selling on Amazon reached out to me whether I could build a software for him.
What were you doing at the time? Are you a software genius?
Not me, but I had another company that was focused on data and data analytics. And so as part of this friend reached out and he asked whether we can support it with Amazon SEO. And so we said sure, and this is how Sellics got started.
So what was the first version of Sellics? Because I know it's evolved.
It has evolved quite a bit, yeah. So the first version was literally a ranking tracking software. So you could enter a keyword and you could enter a product, and we would track on a daily basis how this product ranks for that specific keyword.
It's a pain to track that stuff.
It is a pain. And so this friend of mine, he was doing this manually. So every day he would look up to 50 keywords and then count on which position he would be ranking. And so that was the first version. It was literally just this. And very quickly we realized that ranking is great, but you don't just want to rank or track something. You also want to optimize your rankings. And so we added keyword research, we added listing optimization, so a bunch of things that really help you to not just track your rankings, but improve your rankings.
Talk about the optimization and keywords. How does it spit out the keywords we should be using? It's just that easy. It's a push button. You sign up, boom, you get top ranking keywords, right?
You'd be surprised how easy it is. So essentially, yes, based on the product that you have, we make a bunch of recommendations, right? And obviously there's that's kind of our secret sauce. I cannot go too much into detail, but essentially,
I want all the details.
That's dangerous to talk to you.
I know.
So I think what I can tell is that we have a database of close to 200 million keywords, and all those keywords are Amazon-related keywords. So this database is made out of the autocompletes that we have on Amazon.
Cool.
And so all the recommendations that we made are specifically recommendations for Amazon. We don't have any, we don't have a Google keyword base or anything, but it's just Amazon. And so out of this keyword base, we have some smart algorithms that make suggestions based on the product.
That's cool. So like for instance, if I was typing in dog and I typed in L, it would show up like dog leashes, and you guys have some kind of algorithm that will pull in a lot of these keywords.
Yes, but not just extensions, but also synonyms of dog leashes, right?
Nice.
So my English vocabulary is not sufficient to give a proper synonym
That's
for
perfect.
dog leashes, but you get you get a lot of combinations and also synonyms of this. So it's not just the extension.
So what other features do you have on the software?
So one of the very popular features these days is Amazon advertising. So we help you to manage and automate your campaigns on Amazon. I'm sure you followed this growth of Amazon advertising.
Yeah.
And so Sellics is actually one of the largest advertising software providers worldwide. And so we help our clients to set up campaigns, to analyze campaigns, but more specifically also to automate campaign management, because it's just very time consuming and very painful to constantly check your bids and increase bids, lower bids and all of this. And so we take care of this for you. And essentially, instead of logging in every day to manage your campaigns, you can log in every week or every second week to just check the results and fine tune a little bit, but we do the heavy lifting for you.
So what are the biggest mistakes you find sellers making?
Oh, specifically with regards to advertising, or
it could
in
be
general?
advertising or optimization.
I think overall, on a very high level, the biggest mistake I think is that people don't allocate enough resources to Amazon. So I'm very surprised to see that people spend crazy amounts of money, but also of people and time on building their own shop and their own system around their shop. And then the shop is generating 20% or so of the overall revenue. And then you have Amazon generating 40-50%, and then you have one person doing this part-time and with essentially no support, no software. And so I think on the highest level, that's the biggest mistake, right? Now, if you ask me for the more operational mistakes when it comes to advertising, I think probably the biggest mistake, here's a very easy one, right? People are reluctant to stop keywords that are not working.
Why?
So because they hope that eventually it will work, and they are scared that if they pause a keyword, then it's gone forever.
It's like a fear of missing out.
It is exactly this. It is a fear of missing out in Amazon advertising. Yes.
So how long should someone wait until they shut it off? Like how much data should they be pulling in before they decide to pull the cord?
Yeah. So I mean, ideally, this is depends on your conversion rate. So the higher your conversion rate, the less clicks you should wait. But so I think most importantly, you should not wait a certain time frame. You should wait for a certain number of clicks to happen. And so as a rule of thumb, I would say something around 15 to 30 clicks. And then if no sale happens in 30 clicks, then you're pretty safe that this is not a good keyword and you can pause it or set it to negative.
What is something that most people don't know that you know because you're kind of deep into the Amazon advertising? I know we've had in-depth conversation with negative keywords or other things. What are some things that people should know that maybe they're not doing?
That is an interesting question. So I think so Amazon recently released a new feature which allows you to analyze performance of ads on a placement level. So you have 3 placements. You have top of page, product detail page, and rest of page. And so we looked into the data on a very large scale. And so the finding that we had is that there are significant differences in clicks and also conversion rate depending on the placement. Now, not surprisingly, top of page actually has the highest conversion rate, but what we were surprised to see is by how much it was actually better than for the other placements. So it is somewhat counterintuitive because those are the most expensive placements, but relative to the conversion rate, they're actually the cheapest ones.
Really?
So you actually get the best return on ad spend at the top of page, relative to all the other ones, even though the cost per clicks are the highest one also for top of page. So it's a bit counterintuitive to bid the most, but you get the most in return.
Yeah,
so I think
it's all about the return.
Eventually, it's about the return. It doesn't matter how much it costs, right? It matters how much you get back for that cost. And so on top of page, you get more return for the invest.
Yeah, I was talking to one person who runs ads and uses whatever various tools, and he said, well, how much would you spend on advertising? I go, as much as you humanly want to spend, as long as you're getting a return. I'm not going to put a budget on that, right? So what do you find is, as far as the future of Amazon e-commerce, what are you seeing trends that people should look out for?
So I mean, I think the biggest trend that I see is that there is a consolidation around a small number of high volume platforms. So if you think about 5 or 10 years ago, you had this big trend of going multi-channel. So everyone was using software to cover as many channels as possible. And so the trend that we see now is that this is getting reduced to a handful of meaningful channels. Obviously, Amazon clearly number one, but then also eBay, Walmart, Target, and so it's you have a small number of very relevant channels. So I think that this is a big trend that I see in the next 5 years in e-commerce, where it is not so much about being present on all the channels, but it's about being very present on a few number of channels.
Yeah, it's like an 80-20.
It is 80-20, absolutely. And then I think when you think about how do you invest your time, then I think while in the past it made a lot of sense to invest your time thinking about how can you be present on all those channels. Now you should spend your time thinking on those 1, 2, 3, 4 channels and how you can go very deep in those channels and really get the most out of it, because those channels are getting a lot more complex. So if we take Amazon for as an example, Amazon 5, 6, 7 years ago was essentially a sales channel. You upload your products and you sell, right? And you wait for money to come in, essentially. And what happened now over the last years is that Amazon has evolved into a marketing channel as well. So suddenly, all the complexities that you had around AdWords and social media marketing and all of this, all of those complexities are now on Amazon, which on one side makes it more complex, but on the other side also increases opportunity because you can reach a lot more people and you can do a lot more than just uploading your products. So I think that this is really this, less channels, but invest more in those channels because those channels are getting more complex. I think that this is overall the big trend that I see in the next couple of years.
So one last question, Franz. What you were saying on that is very interesting. But what's been the proudest moment with Sellics so far? A proud milestone.
A proud milestone. You mean overall in the company history?
In the company, yeah.
I think so. Obviously, as we're based out of Europe, opening up the U.S. office was a very proud moment for us. So we have an office in New York now, where we have a bit more than 10 people at this point, and so that was certainly a big moment for us.
Thank you. Live from RetailX, check out Sellics.com.